Welcome back to today's economic news, where we dive deep into the stories shaping our world. Today, we delve into a decision that has rattled international relations and could have far-reaching consequences. President Trump's order for a total blockade of Venezuelan oil tankers amid an already fraught crisis. Before we uncover the specifics of this move, let's talk about why you, as a concerned citizen, should be outraged. This blockade isn't just a matter of international diplomacy. It's about the ripple effects on global economies and the potential humanitarian toll it could entail. Now, let's set the stage. The backdrop of this aggressive measure is a decades-long saga of political strife and economic sanctions between the United States and Venezuela. Under the leadership of Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela has faced allegations of human rights abuses and authoritarian governance, prompting the U.S. to incrementally impose sanctions starting in 2017. These measures were not simply for show. They represented an intense strategy to cripple Venezuela's once thriving oil industry, a cornerstone of its economy. But here we are, watching this economic tug-of-war escalate into a more militarized stance. Before today's disaster, remember back in 2020 when they said these sanctions were meant to pressure the regime into reforming? Well, the narrative has shifted dramatically, and now, with the U.S. labeling Maduro's government as a foreign terrorist organization, the path has been paved for more aggressive actions than ever before. This isn't just about politics. It's about the livelihood of millions who might end up collateral damage in an international power struggle. Now, let's dive into the hard data to understand the magnitude of this current blockade. The oil tanker known as Skipper was loaded with a staggering 1.8 million barrels of oil back in December. To put that in perspective, that's enough crude to supply a small nation for weeks. But before its seizure, an estimated 200,000 barrels had already been transferred. That's like having the rug pulled out from under you halfway through a marathon. The total value of oil aboard the Skipper is estimated to be between $60 to $100 million. My friends, this isn't pocket change. This is a hefty slice of economic pie that's now been snatched from the Venezuelan regime. And what do they plan to do with it? Fund activities the U.S. labels as terrorism. The attack here is obvious. Is this economic strangulation justified? Let's not forget the 22 U.S. military strikes on suspected drug traffickers since the fall, resulting in 87 deaths. These numbers don't just represent a fight against crime. They reflect a complex web of political calculations where human lives are often just statistics in a grand strategy. If we take a look at the mainstream narrative, it spins this blockade as a defiant stand against state-sponsored terrorism and narcotics trafficking, with the hope of reclaiming U.S. assets. But reality paints a harsher picture. This approach could exacerbate Venezuela's dire humanitarian conditions, intensifying the suffering of ordinary citizens far removed from any criminal enterprise. Critics insist that such aggressive posturing might consolidate support for Maduro, casting him as the stalwart defender against foreign oppression, a far cry from the change the international community desires. Consider the rhetoric used. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. And then, the illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. When politicians use such dramatic language, ask yourself, do they think we are naive to believe theatrics over substance? Now, for a quintessential libertarian perspective, this blockade raises alarming questions about inflation, government incompetence, and the erosion of liberty. Blockade could jack up oil prices, hitting the common man right where it hurts, his wallet. Historically, the U.S. government's meddling in foreign affairs has led to unintended chaos, destabilizing regions far beyond the initial intent. What holds back the next unpredictable wave when the government decides what's best on the global stage without a clear plan? Let's end on a powerful note. This blockade, under the guise of protecting national interests, risks setting a dangerous precedent for military interventionism. It questions the sovereignty of nations to govern themselves without the looming shadow of foreign encroachment. My friends, if you're tired of paying for their mistakes and tired of watching international blunders unfold on your dime, hit subscribe. This is John signing off. We must stay informed, engaged, and most importantly, vigilant.